Hello, good afternoon to everyone watching us. This is our usual Monday program, The Debate. And today we have a very interesting topic where we'll be looking at is religion drifting away Africa from the ideals of Pan Africanism. Today we will be having two or three panelists. I guess everybody will be around. We already have Mr. Emmanuel, who is there, and Mam Vera. I'm expecting equally Philip from Kenya, who will be joining us. This is your platform, and you are all welcome to this program, The Debate. Before we continue, we are going to have a 30 seconds jingle, which will make us relax and get ready for our debate proper. And we have You're all welcome back. Thank you for the jingle. We know that Christianity has been around for many thousands of years, of course, and this can be exemplified by the number of churches we have around. So today we're looking at how religion can influence the Africa we want and how it can equally contribute to us having the Africa that we want. And this topic will be dealt with two panelists who will be around. But before that, we get to our panelists. We're going to have a general overview of the topic of today, and this will be delivered to us by Mam Vera, who should be just around. Mam Vera, you're welcome to our program this afternoon, The Debate.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Bolifo. It's always a privilege to join you on this very, very important conversation.
Thank you so much.
I was informed that I'm supposed to give a short briefing on what Pan-Africanism is, as well as the role of religion in achieving Pan-Africanism. If you want to get to understand the story and what really Pan-Africanism is all about, then we must go back to the history, the African history, or again, the world history, which began 1863 with Abraham Lincoln. This was during the time of slavery, and it was really, really co-headed by Marcus Garvey, who really fought seriously that Africans were supposed to be liberated and all that. And then it continued also with the history 1919, where we had many meetings people coming up together to recognize the fact that colonialism was really it was the detriment for the Black people, for the African people. We had another meeting that was held in 1921 and also 1923 that was held in London. And all these meetings were held. But what made this meeting particularly special in 1921 was the fact that the Africans were also represented. And in this meeting, Kwame Nkrumah was also one of those that were represented and who really fought hard and spoke about the aspect of Pan-Africanism. And he mentioned the fact that for the African to really get to be united, there must be the recognition and there must be decolonization that must take place. Then 1945 is a very remarkable year. This meeting was held in Manchester, in United Nations. Africans took part. Kwame Nkrumah took part. Many other African leaders took part. And it was very critical for the mindset of a Pan-Africanist. And I think that was the moment that one can say that the history and the story of Pan-Africanism really began. Now, what is Pan-Africanism actually? Pan-Africanism, in another word, in one word, one would say Pan-Africanism is simply the unity of the African government with one army, one currency, one capital, one people. That's actually the thing behind Pan Africanism. And today we want to see how the church or religion or spirituality or religion can actually improve this unity of the one people. And that's going to be the conversation of today. Is that going to be possible? Is it possible that the church, in form of the different organizations, when I want to I prefer say religion so that we see it in the bigger picture, like the all
Mm.
the religions that exist. Because if we limit it to the church, then it is very detrimental too. Then we are becoming biased. So I would like the conversation to take the religion as whole, rather than just the Christian religion. Because yes, of course, the Catholic religion plays a very serious role in this process of not achieving the purpose of Pan Africanism, but it doesn't mean that it is all the Christian body that really do that. So I'm really wishing a very nice conversation today. I think that we can achieve Pan Africanism. I am a Pan Africanist because I believe in the unity of all African people. I believe that we have to support African businesses. I believe that the Africans have all that it takes to become great. And I believe that we have the manpower, we have the knowledge, we have the ability. We only must have to decolonize ourselves, our mindset, so that we can be able to achieve the dream of Kwame Nkrumah, who said when they got their independence, Ghana alone being independent or being free is not sufficient. All Africans must be free. And this is where I have to end my conversation today. And I'm wishing you all the best in the conversation and in the debates today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for taking us back memory lane. And I'm happy you mentioned Kwame Nkrumah, who has always scouted for unity. And for us to be united, you said we need to decolonize our mindset. And talking about Pan Africanism, of course, it is one Africa with everybody, all Africans having one interest and equally an Africa that is unified. I think that is, in a nutshell, what Pan Africanism is. And thank you so much for always being there, and you took us memory lane to give us the origin equally and the importance of Pan-Africanism. And today we want to link Pan-Africanism to religion. Like you said, we should not go to Christianity because it's going to, drift us away from our debate. So we're looking at the role of religion in making us to achieve the ideal Africa that we want to achieve. Thank you so much, and we are hoping
Thank
that
you.
you stay with us if need be. If you have the time to stay with us, we would like you to remain with us so that we go through this debate
Sure.
well.
Sure.
You are always a resource person, and we always like to have you around. I will welcome my panelists who should be around the corner. Mr. Emmanuel, okay, I have Mr. Philip from Nairobi. Thank you so much for always being there. And I have my resource person equally, Mr. Emmanuel Fomban, who
Yeah.
has done everything possible to be with us today. This shows how important and how you take this program seriously. I'm happy to have you around. Mr. Emmanuel, you've been out for some time. Can we get a word from you before we get into the debate proper?
Oh, Ms. Sambolifo, thank you so much for inviting me this time around. It was actually a privilege that I noticed that I was part of, invited to be part of this debate. I am sorry to all our wonderful fans. Some preoccupations have not actually permitted that I am part of you every Monday, but I so much regret. But I've always followed up. I've always followed up. But I believe we are going to have a wonderful time today.
Thank you so much. Philip, a word from you, Philip, before we go ahead.
Yes, you can hear me, Mr. Elvis.
Yes, I get you 5 on 5.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, and I'm very happy to be here. I'm always happy when I come to this platform, and thank you for allowing me be here. I think I was here 2 weeks ago, and I'm glad to be here today to discuss the topic of faith, religion, and African development. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We are talking about religion, and we know that religion has been around for so many years. And given the role of religion equally in any society, we are expecting that religion should be able to bring people closer, unite people, and equally make Africa achieve its Agenda 2063 goals, which is having Africa as a united country where everyone has common interests, common governance, common currency, and you can name the rest. So this afternoon we're looking at, is religion drifting away Africa from the ideals of Pan Africanism? Is religion drifting away Africa from the ideals of Pan Africanism? That's a topic we are going to be dwelling on this afternoon, to see the role that religion is actually playing. Is it a positive role or a negative role? So we are going to be getting that from our panelists, who will actually clarify us on the different aspects and the different situations that we have as far as religion is concerned. I take Mr. Emmanuel, my first question. Mr. Emmanuel, we have thousands of churches or religion around. I said I will not say churches, thousands of religious groups around in Africa. Is this an imported concept or an enrooted belief? Do we really need to have this number of churches, religion institutions around to be able to, talk about the good things that religion can actually get to us? Is it an
Yes,
imported
Mr. Mbolifo,
concept?
okay, thank you so much. I think that if you are talking religion on the basis of the worship of a superhuman, that is the worship of God, or a belief in an existence of a God, I think that it existed already. But then, if you are talking religion as in denominations, I think that it is an imported concept in Africa, and that one is what has brought more harm than good.
Okay, that religion has brought more harm than good. Philip, do you think that we are supposed to have so many religious institutions to be able to make even the worship of God felt, or to make people feel more unified? If we are worshiping or praying to the same God, why therefore have so many religious institutions? Do you think this can play positively to making us achieve the Africa we want by 2063?
Yes, let me first start with the question you asked, Elvis. I think I don't want to pass that before giving my thought on that. Before I go to the question you just asked, I will say that if we talk of faith, we believed in things before. As an African, African setups, various groups believe in various things. When we talk of the Kabaka in Uganda, they believe in something. When we talk, we had a religion. We believed in somebody called Ondeto Melkia. So when you talk of religion, it's only that we imported now the fact that we know there is Jesus, there is all that, which our Vera told us maybe we don't need to go there. But I think there's something, faith is something that we already had even before the colonialism came to Africa. And then going to the point you just asked about having different religion and whether it's bringing us together. Um, I want to say no and yes. I want to say no because you see we've always fought. For example, when it comes to terrorism, we Christians, because I want to speak for myself, we've always run and say, terrorism is brought by, for example, Muslim. Allow me just to mention that. And then, that brings some tension, because I believe in something and because I feel this person is a Muslim, and because terrorism has used the name Muslim to fight other people, and then now it has brought some animosity. So I think the difference of having various religion has brought that difference, has tried to disintegrate Africans, because my brother is in the other religion, which I think is bringing let's say war, which I don't believe is true. And then because me, I'm from this religion, I want to now try to not to work together with my brother because I think he comes from that other religion. I think that is why I can say no. But I want to say it does not also. I want to say no because also I think religion has brought with us some good values that should bring us together. Religion has brought love, you know. Religion is teaching us to live as brothers and sister. And I can confirm from Christianity where I come from. I've read also part of Quran, and I've also read about a bit about Buddhism. You know, it promotes humanity. And you see, for you to have development, you should come together. For you to have development, you should love your brother. For you to have development, you must trade together. And I think this is something that religion has tried to promote. It's only that it's only us that we sometimes we want to bring in our personal differences, you know, and we want to use divide and rule, you know. We want to use religion to bring in our negative agenda, or which is not necessary. But I will say yes because no, because religion has tried to bring us together. It has good values that if we incorporate, that if we leave those values, you know, I think we can go somewhere far as Africans. Mr. Elvis.
Thank you so much for that submission. If I got you clearly, you're saying no, that the religion may not be able to get us to achieve the Africa we want because of misconceptions, where people have to affiliate certain ideologies to a particular religion and make it look like religion was actually bad. And when you go to talking about the values of religion, you talk of good moral values that it has inculcated in us, and equally love for one another. In a nutshell, you are saying that religion is a unifying factor, which I noted down here. But then,
Exactly,
the way
Elvis.
when
Thank
you
you for
present,
putting that
yeah,
together. Yes.
yes, let me cue again back with you because I listened to you keenly. Do you think, therefore, I want you to get to a consensus to come back to one, not yes or no. Do you think religion can be a threat to Africa achieving its Agenda 2063? If you had to take a stand, do you think religion can be threatening the achievement of this our self-reliance, a unified Africa, and an Africa that somebody can write home about by 2063?
Yes, Mr. Elvis. I will strongly say that religion is not a threat. So I will say no. Religion can play a role of unifying us when we live the values that has come with religion, Mr. Elvis.
Okay, so religion, therefore, is not a threat to making Africa unified, as you say. Mr. Emmanuel, I saw you listening with quite keen attention, and I want to ask you this question. Do you think religion is a threat to Africa's reliance and the achievement of our Agenda 2063?
Yeah, Elvis, thank you once again for this question. I think why I heard you talking, and I remember this American theoretical physicist who once made this statement that with or without religion, good people can behave well and bad people do evil. But for a good person to do evil, it takes religion. If you look at actually, when you look at the world today, and when you look specifically at Africa today, you want to think of the pre-colonial era when Africans that were termed pagans, because I must highlight here that it was very wrong for the white man or the missionaries to term Africans as pagans. Africans perhaps had their own religion. So I think that this tagging us as pagans was just a means to make us to believe in what they serve, what they brought to us. That is their own religion. But when you look at the Africa before this era, you would want to think of that community with some good, with some moral values. You want to think of that community where people actually live a life where you feel that the love that the Western religion preaches was really existing that time. But from the time that the missionaries, the Western missionaries, brought this religion, which many people felt that its fundamental principles was actually on rooted on love and love of humanity and many other things. It is quite very unfortunate that from the time that they came, there's been increasing evil there's been increasing evil in Africa, and and seemingly the religion is seeming to be indifferent to everything that is happening bad around us. And I still remember you talking about the multiplication of mushroom churches here and there. There are places where you go in, and the distance between one church and the other is just even under 50 meters. And you even get some churches like the members can be shouting here and it's affecting the next door churches, and you want to see that it is just a sign that the religious organizations or their administrators are consistently being derailed from the fundamental principles of religion. Because if you are going to a church and you feel that that church is doing a lot to help you, and that church has the right principles, there is not just any need of leaving that church to go form another church anywhere. So there is something which is motivating the formation of religious institution, which is not really the fundamental principles. People are taking these fundamental principles as the screensavers, but whereas they have their secondary agenda. So I think that Africa should actually be thinking of going back to their roots, because I very much believe that going back to our roots can actually help us so much, because for a very long time religion has failed, and there is no sign that it's going to start helping us.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. You began by saying that without religion, we will always have good people as well as bad people, but that bad people could behave properly if they are affected by religion. That is what I know.
No, it's instead otherwise. It's instead otherwise. Yes, that is it. That for a good person to do evil, it takes religion.
Okay, so religion
that is yes, that is it. I was actually quoting from the principles of Steven Weinberg. That is he was a theoretical physicist in USA.
Thank you so much for that correction and for the points you brought up. But as you developed and you were going on, I equally picked up paganism, which you mentioned that is how the missionaries looked at Africans as pagans. But I want to think that before they came, we had our own African religion. Wasn't that good enough for us? Was there any reason for us to change, or is it because we were being imposed on another religion? Because I want to think that African religion was really so important, and it used to keep us together. We ate together, we did everything together. But when you want to sideline the African religion and say that they are pagans because they don't want to embrace your own religion, I want to say there was something wrong.
Yes, Elvis, that is why if you have to study colonialism very well, you will discover that religion was actually used as a tool to actually make sure that the colonizers, or the colonial masters, could foster their colonial agenda. Because when you look at it, these missionaries came first, and to those people that they preached to them and they did not buy to their philosophies, these people were meted with aggression. They were meted with suppression, and it was very, very hard on them. I remember one time that I visited Ghana. There is actually one of the areas that hosted the highest number of slaves on West Africa. I'm talking about Mena Castle. I think that all my life I have never seen a house with such a thickness. And it so happened that in this particular building, the Africans, our African brothers and sisters, our African parents had the worst form of inhuman treatment. And unfortunately, I am very sorry to say this, it's just so disheartening that all of this was done when the missionary church was just in the middle of that compound. And the missionaries were there and they saw everything and they could not do anything despite the powers that they had. So this is just to tell you that there was no good intention bringing Western religion to Africa. And this is why I still do not believe that Western religion is going to provide for us, because after all, African religion was far better than their religion, because African religion respected humanity. African religion showed solidarity. It showed love, promoted love for brother and sisters, and it has every good thing that is rooted in the principles or in the doctrines of Western religion. So African religion got it all.
Okay, I wanted to
I
come
think
back
I think
to that
I
quotation.
think
I wanted to come back to that
if you
quotation.
allow
Yeah,
me,
Philip, I wanted to come back to the quotation where you said, for a good person to do evil, it takes religion. Can you please develop this again and tell us how this could have contributed to destroying the idea of Kwame Nkrumah to unite Africa and make it stronger?
I may not really be because I was not really in the mind of Steven Winberg when he brought up this, but I every time feel like there is actually a connection with this with this quote with actually what exists with what exists, because sometimes I should say I don't know if it's because maybe people exposed to religion sometimes they are being exposed to some resources that, because for instance, let me just start for, maybe when you look at somebody growing up, there are people that certainly you see growing up in the society and you say these people are actually very good people, they are models in the society, they are they live a kind, they have some kind of degree of reverence. And sometimes when people press them and they hold the Bible, the next thing that you start getting is the preaching, the collecting of tithes, and before you see their focus starts diverting to money and definitely leaving mankind apart. And I think that there is a connection. I may not really be able to expatiate this so well, but I think that there is a connection from this, because every time I read it, I actually see a lot of reality. I can actually connect it with a lot of happenings in the modern day society.
Okay, thank you so much for that interesting point. Philip, you wanted to react before I had to queue up again with the manual.
It's
Philip, check
microphone.
if your mic is okay.
sorry, I didn't unmute. Sorry for that. I
Okay.
just wanted to say that religion was good. I think what my brother meant when he said the foreign religion were not good and the way the intention were not good, I think the way they were introduced to us was the issue. Because, like he said, it was used to divide people. You know, those who are not supporting it, you know, who are brutally beaten by the colonialists and all that. But I think it's the way the religion was brought. Because otherwise, if it was something that was bad, I think like all those who have embraced religion, who have embraced, let's say, Muslims, Islamic, or those who have embraced Christianity, or all those other religions could have not embraced. We can't say maybe they were stupid enough not to embrace something that was bad. And I think we can confirm that there are some good things that can also come out of this religion, because they also bring us together, just as like the African religions did. So I just wanted to add on that, so that I think make that
Okay,
point
thank
clear.
you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I am happy we are developing the points and going. You're almost on the two sides. One person is almost, you are
But
for the fact that religion was good, but I wasn't. I am not so. Where you say was, I was tempted to ask you the question: is it not? But I will not ask that question. Maybe you will develop it in the next questions that we are going to have. And I wanted to say that Ubuntu is a Pan African ideology which is based on generosity, sharing, respect, togetherness, selflessness, and you can name other virtues that comes with that. But I want to ask you, are African religious leaders today portraying these qualities? Philip.
Can I go first? Yes,
Yes.
thank you. I want to say a big no on that, because we've seen a lot of things that our Christian leaders or our other religious leaders have done. And I think one thing that is coming out clear, that lately we've seen religious leaders fight, whether in mosques, whether in temples, whether in churches, we've seen them fight. And I can even confirm that my home church in the village where I come from, it was divided into two, and now we have factions. We have the other church and we have the other one, and I've seen that even in the capital city where I am. Very many people now want to use religion to amass wealth, want to use churches or mosque or whatever to just amass wealth for themselves. So they are not sharing. Their interest is not the interest of their congregants, and some of them even use religion as a way of sanitizing. In Kenya nowadays, we use the word sanitization a lot to sanitize bad deeds. We've seen people still out there, and when they come to the religious grounds, when they come to temples, when they come to mosques, when they come to churches, they want to use that because they know they have which following. They want to hoodwink the congregant to see that whatever they're doing is good. So I think that one I want to say a very big no. I just want to say it shortly like that because I think we really see what is happening on the ground. Religion, I can say, is good, just as I said before, but I think it has not been used well by our leaders, both religious and political leaders. I think, and then also we also have those mindsets. The mindset through which that was the mindset that was there when religion was introduced. Because I know I am right because I'm this in religion. In this religion, I'm the right one. Because you're in the other religion which I don't support, you are the wrong one. So I think this is where we are going wrong, Mr. Elvis. So Ubuntu as a Pan-Africanist ideology is not seen in our religion today. Okay, so I think our leaders have failed, both religious, both political, and both traditional leaders have failed in that aspect. Yes.
Okay, before we come back, let's take a 30 seconds jingle and then we continue with our series of questions. Thank you so much for the submissions already so far. We can have our jingle. Welcome back after the jingle. I want to queue up with Emmanuel. We'll listen to Philip, who vehemently refuses that our African leaders do not contribute much to make Africa what we want and to make us achieve the Africa that we want. Mr. Emmanuel, do you think, what role do you think our African leaders can actually play in order to make us achieve the Africa that we want? How can they intervene? Given that they have a number of people behind them, they have a good influence on the people, and the people actually follow them and they listen to them. How do you think they can put their hands on deck equally so that we achieve this Africa one faster, not up to 63, but maybe years, many years before that?
I think, Elvis, before I roll forward to that, I think I also want to roll back to what Philip said, that Western religion has brought us together. I want to just believe that he has not done better than our traditional African religion did to us, because we were more united than we were after from the moment that Western religion was served to us. But then going to, I don't know if this question is still asked with the perspective of the religion or in connection with the religion. I don't know the perspective that you wanted me to face this question, as far as African leaders wanting maybe their rule.
We're looking at how selflessness, generosity, sharing is no more a virtue of our African leaders. And we're asking that, given that they are with so many people, they have a good influence on the people, they talk and the people hear. Do you think this can be motivating? This attitude can actually be an attitude that can bring unity and make Africans all at large have a common interest on whatever is happening when you have to see our leaders, religious leaders, amassing everything for themselves? Do you think they can play a positive role to achieve the Africa we want? When we talk of Africa we want, of course, we're
Okay,
looking at it in
okay.
Africa. Yes.
Okay, I think I think I got you now. Talking of religious leaders, I don't just see enemies because I remember that when I was on some studies, I actually was so surprised that I had to believe that a modern form of capitalism was coming to Africa through churches. And when you go by this, it just tells you that it is just very impossible to believe on anything as far as religious leaders because they are doing as worst as politicians are doing. Uh, uh, when you take, for instance, you're seeing a church, and the pastor of that church is riding in a brand new Prado car, going as far as buying a jet, but there are people in this church who cannot afford a square meal a day, but they keep on preaching that God loves a cheerful giver, as if the cheerful giver was only going to be the Christian who is coming and sacrificing their widow's mite to tithe that they are using. You see a pastor having the most beautiful cars. You see the pastor buying the cars for the children, and there are poor Christians who are coming there contributing money and giving this pastor, and he's using it for him and his family, and it's not just his concern. The worst is when you have a Christian of you have Christians of this church fall into problems and are running to the pastors. Unfortunately, the pastors always claim how helpless they can be, so they cannot actually help in anything. They are as bad as a good number of them are as bad as our politicians, because their agenda is not actually to unite the people. No matter how much they preach the Bible, they are not there for the people, because I tell you, if the money is there, if the Christians, if no, it's not, if the Christians decide that they will not give any tithes again, I bet you they'll close those churches and don't come there again. So
Mr.
the
Emmanuel,
pastors, yeah.
yes, yes, Mr. Emmanuel, how do you think, what do you think they could do differently to be able to meet the needs equally of some of their Christians and make life better? Because we're talking about Africa. Africa begins from a very small unit. When we're talking about the influence that we are doing our own small already from a very small corner. We are going gradually making people know and equally to sensitize people that we are around. What do you think these pastors or these religious leaders could do differently that will actually reflect the type of Africa we want to have?
I wish that they could actually do something, Elvis, because there is no way you ask me that what maybe what can a thief start doing to start making value. The only thing they can do is to stop stealing. And if they stop stealing, they would have started making an impact in the society somehow. So it is very, very evident if we have the pastors who do not have an agenda, whose agenda is just to amass wealth in the name of preaching the and all of that. The only thing is for them to stop that. And if they see money is leading them to evil, they draw back from that from because it's not even an obligation. It's not even an obligation, because a good number of them has made it an obligation for Christians to always feel like if they don't give tithes, they are not something will happen to them, or if they don't give tithes, they are not working in lines with. I don't know why they overemphasize on that, because one thing that I practice, some people might feel that I am talking like I am a Christian, I go to church, I'm a Catholic, and but one thing that I did that I always do is that sometimes I decide to allocate the money that I have to be giving for this tithe. I allocate this money for the underprivileged. I know that if I'm giving them, I'm giving to people who need them, and this is what God tells me to do. Yes, when God tells you that, when the Bible says God loves a cheerful giver, I think that gift, whatever you are giving, should be going to the right person. Yes, because I cannot afford anymore that you coming to churches coming to church, sacrificing your widow's mite, and you're seeing the men of God riding in the big cars and looting some, uh, and you feel that we should continue giving. Absolutely,
Thank
they
you
are
so
not
much.
bringing any change, and I don't really think that
Let me
they can we can depend
Yes,
on them for any
thank you
change.
so much, Mr. Bawa.
let me
Philip, yes,
let me
I
add
saw you
something.
agitating.
I think I think Mr. Emmanuel must have really felt the wrath of one of the pastors in his in his church. But I think on a light note, let me add something. I want to agree with Mr. Emmanuel. But I think one problem that we have, especially in Christianity, I think is the fact that we really want to let the church, the pastor read for us the Bible. We want to believe the pastor than what the Bible is saying, you know. I think that is one problem we have. But just let me put that aside. I think one thing that one what our religious leaders can do, just like Desmond Tutu. I think the famous Desmond Tutu, if you remember, of South Africa, the Nobel Peace Prize winner, he fought for against apartheid rule in South Africa. He was almost, I think he was jailed, he was detained for that. And I think what we can call for our leaders now is to come out and call our leaders to account. I think that is the best thing that they can do. They have the following. For example, if I just give an example of COVID situation that is just uh, really troubling the world as we speak, the leaders called on their followers not to go to church, not to go to mosque, not to go to temples, so that the situation can be contained. And they have played a very big role in trying to minimize the spread of COVID-19 in Africa. And I think that one we have to agree. In Kenya, actually, in my church, we are almost a congregation of 10,000 people. We have not gone to church from, I think, March, as much as the government tried to reduce the restrictions that he had put in place. We have not gone because we are very many. It is very difficult to control. And I think I want to thank my pastor, a religious leader, for doing that. So there's something they're doing, and I believe there's something that they can do. Most of our, as I said before, most of our political leaders, after doing their evils, after looting, after doing all those things they do, they go to church and they speak in church, because when is my member of my church, I believe this person is good. They come and hoodwink and say, you know, I did this. Then they come and bring their offerings to church, as my brother Emmanuel has said. But when they stand, when they stop being having the aim of just wanting to make money in church, when they call out bad, when they call out evil, I think we can achieve the Africa we want. So I think there is much that our religious leaders can do than just keeping quiet, than just amassing wealth, than just having big cars, as my brother Emmanuel is saying. So I think they should come out and call out evil and try to unite people instead of now separating us and making people fight because of religion. So I think there is that just much that they can do that they are not doing as we speak, Mr. Emmanuel.
Okay, so like I said, we want to appreciate the religious leaders of your country who have done everything to support the government equally to make sure that the COVID spread has been curbed to at least a level that is no more so dangerous for people. Thank you so much, Philip, for that pat on the back of your religious leaders, and we're hoping that other religious leaders could do same too in other African countries so that the virus will, be eradicated in our in our continent. Thank you so much. So we are talking religion today and how religion impacts the Africa we want by 2063. And we have seen that our religious leaders are not doing quite much, saying some amazing words. But I want to think that some of our religious leaders, we may just be having a misconception on them because some of them are entrepreneurs and they have other businesses around which can warrant them to have the luxurious cars and the luxurious life that they are living. That notwithstanding, we are hoping equally that at that level they should empower their Christians so that they too can be more comfortable and worship with them properly. We say that man is made in the image of God, and at least God loves a handsome, a clean, and somebody who is not hungry. So today, remember, we are talking about religion. I want to see how it affects the Africa we want. So, what do you think is the role of the diaspora in this whole issue of religion? Can they have an impact on Africa as well as far as religion is concerned? What can the diaspora do in this regard? Philip, I take you first because you just gave me a
Uh,
very important point
gener-
there.
yes, yes. I think generally, I don't think there is much that diaspora can do in terms of the religion, but I think we can learn from people who are outside of Africa, because we've seen countries like like America. America is religious, as much as the state is trying to stay away from religion, but America is as one of the biggest churches, and they're still doing very well. One of the wealthiest pastors, as you just said, some people, some pastors have business. I know a pastor here in Kenya, some very many of them actually, who are doing very good businesses, and their wealth mostly come from their businesses. And we've seen a pastor, for example, TD Jakes in US. He's a very big entrepreneur that other people who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs can learn from, and they're doing very well. America is developed. As much as I know, a very big proportion are not religious, but we have Muslims in America, we have Christians in America, we have Chinese who believe in other things in America, and I think that is one of the lessons we can learn from them. They really do not want to make you. They really do not want to use religion to fight. As much as we know those who really believe and those who really uphold their faith, but still they have developed. So I think maybe that is one of the main lessons that I can pick from diaspora, or I can call from diaspora, or I think our brothers in those countries can bring back home, and I think we can learn from that and also steer our Africa to where we want it to be. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We need our religious leaders equally to have something doing, because it's always so disheartening that you present the problem to a religious leader and he turns and say God is in control, when he in front of you is really your God who could sort you out from that problem. So
Actually, let me add something on that note. I think Mr. Elvis,
yes,
we will. I think it's we, all of us, we found ourselves here. I think all of us are Christians, and we don't want to exclude our other religion. But let me just give an example in the Bible. Even Jesus himself, when he was preaching, he did not only take care of the spiritual part. He also took care of the political and the economical part. Before he preaches to you, you cannot preach to somebody who is angry. That. So I think many people them and they talk about hack. Says he will bless the work of your heart. So I think that is something that our religious leaders can bring forth, and they try to incorporate some economical aspect in church and try to train people to work with their hands. I think that is one aspect that we are missing in our religious context in Africa. So I think that is something that our religious leaders can also learn and bring into context. Thank you.
thank you so much for that submission, Mr. Emmanuel. Let me get this question through to you. What will be your take? Will you encourage religious leaders to be partakers in politics in the continent, or what will be your idea? Is it okay for politics, religious leaders to be in politics, or you don't think they should be involved with politics at all?
Yes, I very much believe that they have all the freedom to do their politics if they are interested in politics. We've seen it like the late Franklin before, who stood for the presidential elections. So they are at liberty to actually go into any political competitions or any political elections if they deem competent, or if they feel that they are competent. Yes, but I always say let the agenda not be to actually get some popularity and start doing horrible things. Because if you are a pastor, if you are a priest, and you are a bad person, uh, it is not politics that is going to change you. Politics is going to make you worse. Yeah. So if there are those who that people have confidence in, and people actually think that they are exemplary in the society, I actually think that they can have much to put in. Yeah, because like I was saying, the greatest problem that I see with our religious leaders is that they preach the doctrine and their life is just the reverse of the doctrine, the opposite of the doctrine that they preach. So I very much believe that a good number of them, if they actually have to consider, if they actually have to consider maybe making the doctrine that they preach become a kind of ethics, their lifestyle, they are going to be so wonderful, because it really pains. It's really so annoying when you actually see what men of God are doing. And like Philip just said, I think that there is actually a very big challenge. There is actually a very big challenge with the issue of religion, because there's actually a very big challenge with something that with the
We lost Emmanuel there. I think his connection should have problems. But before he comes back, Philip, I wanted to ask you,
Let me
is it yes?
let me add something on that because I think he was cut short. Let me represent
Yeah.
him. I think I want to say that our religious leaders, they are also citizens of those countries. So I think they have all the freedom to participate in politics. And already they are participating. I think the only thing they need to do is step up their roles. Okay. As I just said before, they are already commenting on political issues. I think they should come as mediators when it comes to political issues. They should come out and call out evils. You know, people stealing votes is very rampant across Africa. I think their role now is to come out and call these issues out so that we achieve the Africa we want. But when they also come and then get in the mix, and I think politics is not just campaigning and standing for a post to be elected. It is a very wide area. You can be there to watch, see what happens, to guide. You can be there to call out negative issues, negative vices that come in politics. So I think it's not really an issue of you becoming and running for a post. So I think it's a wide area, and they have the field. They are most welcome, and they should actually participate, because politics affect both of us. Whether you are religious or non-religious, it affects both of us.
If we look at the way politics is played around in Africa, do you think people, citizens, can really, be convinced with what the religious leaders will say if they are in politics, given that the promises are usually made, but once you have the post, nothing is being done? Do you think the Christians, it will not interfere or even draw back some Christians from, coming even to churches again, because they will feel that what used to obtain will just be what will be obtained if the religious leaders are elected into power? What do you think?
Yes, one thing that I've seen with, I will give an example of my church. One thing I've seen with my church is that when any religious leader when any political leader comes to church, especially when it comes to time of elections, you just sit just like any other congregant. And when you sit like any other congregant, you will just say I from where you are sitting. You will not be given the pulpit to speak. Okay. But unlike in other
Okay.
many churches or other many religious platforms, you'll always be allowed to talk there, to spew anything you want to say, just say anything that you want to say. I think, just as I just said, let me just repeat myself a bit. I will just say it is up to the religious leaders to stand up for their roles, to stand up in their position, to stand up and guide the political leaders, because they have a huge following. One person or two people that we really believe, actually three people, we believe the pastor so much, we believe the teacher so much, and we believe and trust the doctors so much. And we also believe the politicians because they always lie to us and they come back and we still give them the vote. So I think it is up to our religious leaders to now stand up and point out what is wrong, because they have also allowed the politicians to come and play politics on pulpit, to come and play politics in places of worship. So I think it is upon our leaders now, the religious leaders, not to involve themselves so much into the politics of campaigning, of supporting, but also they should come out and guide and call out the evils that happen in politics, and come out and also be mediators when bad things happen, the way they have always been happening in Africa with politics.
Okay, thank you so much. And I queue up with you, Philip. What advice can you give to our Christian, our believers, or believers who are out there listening to us on this program now? What would be a word for them, or your word for them?
I think what I can say as we close the program is that they should be the light. They should walk the talk, as Emmanuel said. When you're a leader, when you're a Christian leader to be particular, when you're a Muslim leader telling people about Quran, when you're a Buddhist people telling people about humanity and all that, you should live, walk the talk. When you talk about water, you take water. When you talk about wine, take wine. You don't talk about water and then take wine. I think that is one thing that they can do to help us achieve the Africa we want, because I think on that they have failed us. You know, when you are telling us that we should come together and you're trying to divide the congregation and you're fighting because, I want my congregation, when you are telling us and then you are, doing other things, or you are dining with the politicians who are doing the wrong things, when you're telling us to do this and then on the other side, you are supporting evil. Somebody has been abducted in a country, disappears, and you're supporting that politician as a leader, then you're not walking the talk. You are talking about water, but taking wine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. A word to believers who are watching us at this time, and equally our religious leaders too, who are on the platform or watching us.
Okay, Elvis, I think that if I have to tell any believers, any churchgoers something, what I'll be telling them is that the person they should worship is God and not religious leaders. They should know that they actually pay allegiance to God and not to any religious leaders, because the religious leaders are just people like them. So there is no need just maybe giving a lot of attention to them when they are fellow Christians who are actually having challenges in life. I say most especially to those people, to those Christians who are well-to-do. There are a good number of them who come to church every Sunday. They have all the world, they operate businesses, but they are fellow Christians who do not have jobs, who actually have a problem in getting a job around. You'll run to them that, please, you're looking for a job, and you tell them, and they tell them that give everything to God. God is in control and all those things. When somebody tells you that he's hungry, if you're a Christian, if you have bread, you give that person bread. Because one thing that I remember about Jesus was that he was not only preaching, but he was always giving. He was always giving. So if we should emulate him, then we should always have this character of giving. When somebody tells you that he's hungry or they don't have anything, if you can afford for that thing, don't send them to go and pray. When you know that that you have luxurious things that maybe you even waste, or sometimes I think that is another category of people. They have they'll prefer to give a son of a rich man or a child to another rich man a huge money than to give a poor person's child a small sum, maybe to just sustain them for a few days. So we do not want to encourage this, because this is not certainly what God wants us to see in religion. This is not the lifestyle that God wants us to have in religion. And then for our religious leaders, it is very, very important. Let them stop being political, because a good number of them, I see them as ghost politicians. They are politicians playing in the background, because the attention and the way they welcome the way they welcome maybe politicians. Sometimes I start wondering, you see a politician coming to a certain church for the first time, and there are Christians there who actually come to this church, you clean the church, make the church clean, and you, the church, the religious leader, you have never spread a red carpet for them, but the politician is coming there for the first time, and you are preparing them a nice seat in church and spreading a red carpet for them. This is not the kind of religion that we want, because religion identifies all of us as human beings, as God's creatures, and we are not supposed to be different. It is not in church that we are supposed to see that this is a minister or this is a rich person. This is not the right place we are supposed to be showing these things. We don't want to see men of God in special relationships with politicians, because this is not what the church is made of. We don't want to see them give special attention to the alms basket, because this is not where their mission lies. So I think that this is all what I can share to Christians and to church leaders. And I believe that if we actually have a moment like this, then we could start counting on the church, maybe for the Africa we need.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, Forman Emmanuel, for being with me on the panel. We're looking at, is religion drifting away Africa from the ideals of Pan-Africanism? And our Ubuntu today was generosity, sharing, respect, togetherness, and selflessness. So we're hoping that our religious leaders walk the word, like Philip said. They should walk the word so that Africa could be what we want it to be. Thank you so much for being with us. And remember to always join us on Monday for the debate and other programs that we have on the Some Point Global TV. On Thursday, we have a program, Racism. And equally on Sunday, we have Business Talk. So always join us and equally share our link and like so that others could join us. Thank you so much for being with me this evening. And we'll be leaving you with our jingle. Thank you and bye-bye.